Okay, let's be real for a second. Being a teenager, it's tough, right? Like really tough. And before you start thinking back to your own awkward high school photos and everything, we're actually taking this deep dive straight to Nigeria. Yeah, we're going to be cracking open Ellis Mbeku's a teenager struggle. He's spent years working with young people there, and honestly, his insights are really about to give you, I think, a new perspective on things. We're going to be talking about those universal growing pains that we all go through, but within the unique context of Nigerian culture. So
Yeah.
buckle up, because we're basically traveling through the ups and downs of being a teenager from ages 13 to 18. Get ready to unlock some serious aha moments along the way. I think first stop, age 13, that delicate age where you're right on the edge of childhood, right? One foot kind of dipping into the vast unknown of being a teenager. And Mbeku, he doesn't just tell you about it, he like throws you right into the experience. So picture this. Okay, you're 13 years old, you're in Nigeria, and you're just trying to figure out like who you are, where you fit in, and you're navigating those intense waves of wanting more independence, but at the same time, you still need your parents there.
Yeah.
It really is like learning to walk all over again, you know? But the thing is, this time the stakes are so much higher. And what I find fascinating is that this yearning for independence, it's universal, right? Really is. But the cultural landscape in Nigeria, it adds a whole other layer of complexity to it all. You've got family dynamics, societal expectations. It all kind of comes crashing together during these really crucial years. And we have to remember this is all happening while their brains are basically going through this massive rewiring process.
Oh, yeah, totally. Talk about like a recipe for turmoil, right? It's like your brain is throwing a house party, but nobody told your emotions how to behave.
Exactly. And think about it. At 13, you're going through this transition from concrete thinking to abstract thought. The world isn't black and white anymore, and that can be exhilarating but also really scary. You're more aware of yourself as a person, but that also means that you're more aware of your insecurities and how other people are perceiving you.
Oh, 100%. It's no wonder that Mbeku calls age 15 like the height of turmoil, right? Puberty's in full swing, hormones are basically running the show, and suddenly every emotion you have feels like it's on a loudspeaker.
And remember those clashes with your parents, the ones where you were convinced they didn't understand you at all?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, you were onto something. This is when that developing prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that's responsible for decision-making and impulse control, it's still a work in progress. Teenagers, they're craving autonomy, but their brains are still playing catch-up.
It's like trying to drive a car with a learner's permit.
Yeah.
You want to hit the open road, but you haven't really mastered all the skills yet.
Yeah.
And to make matters even more interesting, right? Imagine navigating this whole internal battlefield while also dealing with the ever-present pressure cooker of social media.
Ah, yes. Social media, it's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it gives this amazing opportunity for connection and community, which is like super important during those years when you're trying to figure out where you belong. But on the other hand, it presents this often unrealistic, like highly curated version of reality.
It's so easy to forget that behind all those like perfectly filtered selfies and like highlight reels, there's a real teenager, grappling with insecurities, anxieties, and the pressure to measure up. And you know how much emphasis is placed on education, especially in Nigeria. Beko really dives into how that pressure cooker environment adds a whole other layer of stress for teenagers.
Absolutely. And education is often seen as like the golden ticket,
Yeah.
to a brighter future. And while that's a really powerful motivator, it can also be incredibly daunting for teenagers who are, already feeling that weight of expectation.
I mean, think about it. You're 15, right? You're being hit with all these images of like success and perfection online, and then you go to school and it's like this pressure cooker where you have to excel.
Yeah, it's like you're working a tightrope, right?
Right.
Except the weight of your future is on your shoulders, and if you stumble, like those fears of failure, they can be crippling, especially when you're already kind of questioning your place in the world.
It's true. And that brings us to age 17, right? The year when all those big life questions start to come up, you know what I mean? Career choices, relationships, trying to figure out what your values are. It's a lot. Becky describes this age as like a period of intense self-discovery, but he's also honest about how overwhelming it can all feel.
You're standing at a crossroads, multiple paths are right there in front of you, but they're all kind of shrouded in this uncertainty. And then, like, to make it even more intense, you've got the voices of your peers, your family, societal expectations. They're all swirling around you, right?
Yeah.
All vying for your attention.
Oh, absolutely. It's like trying to hear your own inner compass in the middle of all that noise.
Exactly. And remember how we were talking about that need for belonging earlier?
Yeah.
Well, at 17, that need collides with this desire to define yourself, like, as an individual.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that Mbeku, like, highlights this age as this constant struggle, right? To reconcile your own internal compass with all the external pressures from the world around you.
And let's not forget about romantic relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because as if navigating your own identity wasn't hard enough, now you're trying to figure out where someone else fits into all of it.
And it's not just puppy love either, right?
Yeah.
Like these early relationships, and Beku points out that they can be incredibly formative. They shape how you understand intimacy, your sense of self-worth, even how you approach relationships later in life.
It's like a crash course in emotional intelligence 101, but with real-life consequences.
Totally. And what's so fascinating is how these romantic relationships often mirror that broader search for identity that we were just talking about. Teenagers are drawn to people who reflect their own, like, evolving sense of self, but at the same time they're also figuring out boundaries, communication, and the complexities of human connection. It's a lot to process.
No kidding. And all of this leads up to that pivotal moment. Turning 18,
Yeah.
you're officially an adult, like legally at least. But as Abika points out, it's not like flipping a switch.
Right. You don't just magically have it all figured out because you blow out 18 candles on a cake. Those adolescent struggles, the self-doubt, the pressure to succeed, the relationship drama, it doesn't just disappear overnight.
It really isn't. It's more like you're being handed this
Yeah.
like heavy suitcase and it's labeled adulthood, but nobody tells you that it's packed with all this leftover baggage from your teenage years.
And that's where I think Mbeku's insight is so valuable. He's basically saying, hey, if we don't address these underlying issues, the low self-esteem, the unresolved conflicts, the pressure to conform, they don't just magically go away when you turn 18, right?
Right.
They can really have this ripple effect, and it impacts everything, like from your career choices to your relationships down the line.
So it's like those like unresolved issues, they kind of become part of the whole adult experience.
Exactly. They can impact, like, how you handle stress, how you communicate, even how you see the world. Now, Mbeku's not saying it's a hopeless situation, not at all. He's actually a huge advocate for giving teenagers the support and resources they need to unpack that baggage, before it becomes a burden.
Okay, so let's look about some solutions then. Mbeku, he really emphasizes open communication, and not just in families, like everywhere, schools, communities, everywhere. He believes that creating those safe spaces for teenagers to just like express themselves without judgment, that's crucial.
It's about really fostering a culture of empathy, like, just imagine yourself, put yourself back, you're 16 again. What did you need most from the adults in your life?
Honestly, probably just to be heard, just to feel like my feelings were valid, even if my actions maybe weren't always the best.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Mbeku is talking about. He wants teenagers to have those adults in their lives who are, like, willing to really listen without judgment and offer guidance, but without trying to, like, control them or fix everything.
He also talks about like the role of educators,
Right.
and how they can like create a more supportive environment in schools.
Yeah.
It's not just about academics, it's about recognizing that what a teenager is struggling with outside of the classroom, that can have a huge impact on how well they learn and really how they thrive in the classroom.
It's about taking a holistic approach, right? Thinking about the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine a school system that actually prioritizes mental and emotional well-being, right alongside academic achievement.
Right. And it's amazing, like Mbeku, he brings it all together. He even talks about like the role of government and how they can support teenagers too. Like, investing in mental health resources, making sure that everyone has access to quality education, and addressing societal issues like poverty and inequality.
Yeah.
He makes you realize that it's not just about individual responsibility, right?
Right.
It's about creating a society that actually values the well-being of all its members.
He's saying, look, if we want these young people to really thrive, like reach their full potential, we have to create an environment that actually allows them to do that. And that takes all of us.
Absolutely. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the world of Nigerian teenagers, I don't know about you, but I'm walking away with this sense of hope, but also this call to action, right? We've seen the challenges, the pressures, the complexities of what it means to grow up in Nigeria, but we've also seen the resilience, the potential.
Little hope.
Yes, the hope.
Yeah.
And that's something that Mbeku believes in so passionately.
And that's really the takeaway here, right? It's about recognizing that the teenage years, no matter where you are in the world, they're a time of immense growth and transformation. And with the right support, the right guidance, and a whole lot of empathy, young people, they can get through those challenges and they can come out on the other side as the best versions of themselves.
This deep dive has given us all a lot to think about. What can we do, in our own lives to be more supportive of the teenagers around us? How can we create those safe spaces for them, those spaces where they feel comfortable, being open and honest and knowing that we're really listening? And how can we as a society advocate for policies and resources that truly empower young people? I think Baker's insights are such a powerful reminder that when we invest in teenagers, we're really investing in a brighter future for everyone.